Okay guys, here we are once again with our last of our pork from the original recipe that I did. And you're probably thinking you don't want to see any more pork. But there's lots of other recipes we could have done with this. But what I'm going to do this time, it's going to be a stir fry. I do a lot of stir fries in summer. So I'm going to cut all these things. I'll go through the different things. Just to start with, I had this, it's like a Thai lettuce, mix, salad mix sort of thing. So I'm going to use that as my base. I got all that already cut up and everything from Woolworths. It costs you about $3, I think, like that. It's a really good base for like a sort of stir fry. So to that, I'm going to add my own veggies, which I've already got on. Now this is how I cut onions. I always cut one end off and the other end, and then cut them in the middle. And then all you have to do is peel it like that, and it's done. Okay. I'm going to put two in because this one's not very big. So once again, just cut down the middle, get rid of that shit. Again, and then down the middle. This one's a bit stiff. Okay. As I said, in summer, we're actually in winter at the moment, but in summer I make stir fries probably 4 times a week because I like them. They're easy, they're quick. This is going to look slow because I'm sort of talking and mucking around at the same time. Now with the onions, right, once we get into this stage, depending on what I'm going to cook, like if I'm doing an onion gravy, I would just slice them lengthways and just leave them like that. But because I'm putting them into a stir fry, I might chop them a bit finer. It just depends. So for this, now the other thing with stir fries is you need everything to be cut thin, really as thin as you can possibly get, and small. Okay, that's that. I will go back and chop that, but I'll just do all these ones first. Again, find a way that you prefer to cut onions. I've seen people cut onions hundreds of different ways and peel them and everything. This is just how I do it. Okay, so that's basically it. So now I'll get them like this, and I'll just go through now and chop them down a bit more. I'm not getting it to the minced level, just chop down, only because I want them to cook quicker. Because we are doing a stir fry. I could have left these as rings or half rings or whatever you want to call it, but I prefer it this way. Okay, so that's that. Now something I should have got prepared earlier and I forgot. I like to actually cook my onions first without putting it into the mix. So normally I'd have another little bowl, but it's in the dishwasher. That's okay, we can put it on the plate. No worries. And in with that, the garlic. Now I'm chopping this garlic super duper thin. You could at this stage put it into a mincer, like crushed garlic, but I'm just going to leave it just chopped like this because I love garlic, and if I get a bit of a lump of it in my mouth as I'm taking a bite, I don't mind. But the way it cooks in this anyway, we just put that in with the onion. The way this is going to cook, you're very unlikely to end up with raw garlic in your mouth, right? It'll disintegrate. But the flavour goes through everything. It's awesome. I'm putting 2 garlics in. So this is going to make enough, probably for easily 2 meals for me, for a single person. And I'll freeze the other one, because any stir fry freezes really well. And then you just have to, you can microwave it later to heat it up, or do whatever you want to do. Okay, so there's our onion garlic mix. Next thing, I'm not going to use all this. I'm a big fan of broccoli, if you haven't noticed. I like it in everything, that'll do. I just think it's a very versatile thing. I'm just going to chop those florets in half, or maybe quarters, depending on how big they are. Now with this mix of veggies, honestly, I sort of go with whatever is in my refrigerator at the time. I rarely specifically buy stuff if I'm going to do a stir fry or something like that. But I've generally got sort of things in there that I like. Beans as well, when they're in season, I'm a big fan of beans. To me, they're easy to prepare, they taste really nice. And in an Asian style recipe, I think they're really good. But I'm going to chop them again a bit smaller than normal. So I'll chop them into 3. That's my compost heap over there, so they can all go in there. Capsicum, I think, is really important for any stir fry. I only got 1, I wish I had 2, but anyway. This is how I do capsicum. I cut one end off, like that. Cut the other end off, like that. And then I get a smaller knife, and I stick it down there, and I go around in a circle. Just turn it upside down to get the other end properly. And the seeds all come out like that. And then all I have to do is chop it in half. And we take off these white pithy bits. They're not very pleasant, so they go. Don't eat them. And make sure you don't include any seeds. Seeds are not really that nice. Now, in case you're wondering, I use paprika in a lot of my recipes. It's sort of one of my go-to things. Paprika is made from capsicum, essentially, powdered. So now what I do is just cut them into strips. Like that. I'll cut them again in the middle, like that, and I'll chuck them in. The red capsicums to me definitely are a little bit sweeter than the green ones, but the yellow ones are, I don't know, they're not that much flavour in them at all. I avoid the yellow ones, to be honest. Now I grow my own capsicums and I grow the red ones, but the weird thing is, when they're little, like when they first start growing the fruit, they're green. They don't actually turn red until they ripen up. Amazing, isn't it? Now, let's talk chilies. I like chilies. This is a chili. going to chop that end off. We're going to chop that end off. Now, hang on a sec. I actually use chili spices a lot in my recipes, but I do not like hot, boil my mouth out, burn my mouth out chili powder. I don't. I only like a little bit just to spice things up, just to give it a little tingle in your mouth. It often gets people thinking, oh, what is that? They don't quite know what it is because they don't put enough in to make it give you a burning ring of fire. Okay? So chili powder is the whole chili, seeds and all, ground down into a powder. So that's hot. Right, so you don't need tiny little bits. And then you've got these chili flakes. I like to use these when I do like Portuguese chicken, Moroccan chicken, things like that. That's the seeds, mainly the seeds, but it's got a bit of the skin. And just chop more coarsely. So I guess you'd get that and then grind it further into the powder. So they're the two types you can buy. But what we're going to do is we're going to have a raw one, because I think that's really important when you're doing like a Thai. This is sort of a Thai stir fry. It's sort of, you have to have it, right? Like, I mean, that's what it is. So I split it down the middle like that, and then I attempt to scrape the chilies out. I don't know if you saw how I did that, because I know the camera's, my hand's probably hiding it, but I just sort of scraped along, right, to get the seeds out. See if I can show you this way. It's going to be a bit harder, but there you go. You should have seen that. So the idea is, if you like really hot, burn your mouth out, I'm going to sweat while I eat, leave the seeds in. And look, a lot of people like that. I don't. Okay. So I remove them. But I still get that wonderful zing that a chili can give you. Now, just a tip as well, if I was to go to now to cut up other stuff, don't use that knife, because it's got crushed seeds all over it. Put that knife, wash it, or whatever. Wash it before you use it again, or use another one, because otherwise you're going to put all that hot chili juice onto whatever else you're cutting up, and then suddenly, you know, you or your guests are going to be sitting there looking for water because your mouth's burning up. And that's the other thing too, water actually makes it hotter in your mouth. If you want to get rid of a burning chili, there's too much chili, and you want to calm it down, the best thing is milk or yogurt. And that's why in Indian restaurants, they nearly always give you a little tub of yogurt with a spoon in it. People use that to dip their chips in and their papadums in and things, not really understanding what it's for, but it's actually there to relieve yourself if you're overwhelmed by the chili. So you can see I'm just chopping it up into little tiny bits, which is not that difficult to do. And there we go, there's our chili. Again, it's choice, you could leave that in strips, long strips. You could even mince it if you really wanted to. Now, what else have I got? My lime. I'm going to save my lime to near the end, where I'm going to squeeze in the juice near the end, right? Because otherwise if I put it in now, it's just going to burn off, you won't really even taste it. So that's essentially it. We're now ready to move over to, oh, actually the pork. We'll do that now. So this is all that's left of our pork. So, like I said, I'm going to try and cut it as thin as I can, or not as thin as I can, pretty thin, because this is already cooked. If this was raw and I had to cook it, yeah, I'd do it way for thin, I really would. And there's a technique to do that, which I'm not going to do now, but, you know, this is fine what I'm doing. Essentially what we're going to be doing later with the pork is we're not cooking it, we're just going to heat it up, right? So that's the process when you're doing it this way. You're just heating it up. I just want to break it down a little bit more because I want it to like go onto a fork, you know, stick your fork in and straighten your mouth sort of thing. I won't be serving this with a knife. You know, you could use chopsticks as well. So if you're only going to be using chopsticks, you want everything to be bite-sized. You don't want to have to cut anything. So, I didn't tell you, I actually got this pork on special. It was marked down to $15, which is really cheap here in Australia, for 2.1 kilograms of pork. So that's pretty good. And I've got, this will be my fifth, really sixth meal that I've got out of it. So, you know, it works out to be, I worked out each meal I've done is somewhere between, say, $3 and $5 per meal. So it's very economical, right? So you might think buying a big, you know, pork roast at the beginning of the week is expensive. It's not when you spread it out over the week and you know you're going to get all these different recipes in the mix. So that's that. I'm going to turn the wok on, but I'm going to move the camera. Just turn this on now. Start getting warmed up. And then I'm going to move the camera over there so you can see the wok. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, back at the wok. Now, I normally use sesame seed oil for stir fries, but I've run out. So I'm just going to use vegetable oil, which is fine. Because remember, vegetable oil burns really hot, that's what we want. Essentially a stir fry is red hot and very quick. Now I'm using a Breville electric wok, my favourite item in the whole kitchen, because I use this the most. And I've had this one for probably 10 years, maybe a little bit more. Breville, excellent brand, Australian company. They do sell overseas in all the different countries. Really good brand, reliable, well made, good at what they do. I'm going to use a wooden spoon for this application. So first up, I'm going to put our onion in. Just because, I hope you can hear me, just because I want this to cook to a translucent soft, I don't want to brown it. So just keep stirring it, don't let it sit for too long, depending on what it is, sometimes you can. And I've got it on warp factor 9, as in highest it'll go. It's called sear on this, and it really does sear. Okay. So that's almost done, that's how quick it is, it's really good. So before we completely cook it, we want to put the other veggies and stuff in. Oh, I forgot my other secret ingredient. Hang on. For a proper Thai, you really need some ginger in there. So I just use the minced ginger, about, I don't know, a teaspoon. Get that in there. Put the fan on, getting quite smoky. Put this near the window because it does generate a lot of steam and smoke. The smell now is really good. Smell that onion, the garlic, the ginger, it's all coming up. My other favourite ingredient, soy sauce. I always put too much in because I like it too much, but anyway. So really, that's almost it. I could serve that up now as is, but I'm going to go an extra step. I'm going to take this out and I'm going to put in some rice that I've already cooked earlier today. So it's cooked rice. I'm going to do like a fried rice to mix in with this. Just fills it up. In fact, I thought I'd get 2 meals out of this. Looking at that, plus the rice, I could probably get 3 or 4 meals. So I'm just going to let that simmer while I get the rice out. If you've never had Thai food, highly recommend it. Go for the chicken and cashew. That's probably my favourite Thai. I'm just putting a bit more oil in. That'll warm up. I'm not using all the rice, just probably half of it for now. Because I might make a rice pudding out of the rest of it, not tonight but tomorrow. Because that's how you make rice pudding, from cooked rice. So I started with 2 cups I made up. So now essentially we're just going to fry the rice, hence the name fried rice. And you can do all sorts of things. You would have seen at every Chinese restaurant they've got special fried rice where they put pork in and, you know, prawns and shallots and fried egg and omelette. I mean, I'm not doing any of that because I've got all that in there. So really this is just to fill out the main meal. I'm going to put a dash of soy in. Just a little bit, because I don't want it to turn black. Put too much in or your rice will turn black. To get really good fried rice, it's better if you do cook your rice the day before, or even a couple of days before, and leave it in the fridge. It really dries out. And when it's really dried out, it makes really good fried rice. But I forgot, so I only did this a couple of hours ago, so never mind. Okay, so let's put some soy in. You can get all sorts of different types of soy. This is just the good old plain soy. Pearl River soy sauce, I like that one a lot. But I've got other ones in there that are like washibi ones, which are hot. Japanese ones, which are between hot and not hot. So there's all different ones depending on what you're doing. But just for this type of application, I just like the good old general use one. What I'm going to do now is put some of this back in. Not all of it, because that's leftovers. And just mix it all in. You could serve the rice separate and the mix, you know, next to it or on top of it. I just think, what's the point? Because I'm just going to mix it on the plate anyway. So I just put it all together. It's easier to reheat this way as well. You're only reheating one thing instead of two. Oh, and woks. You can do this wok on the stove top if you've just got this is an electric wok. Highly recommend it if you can afford to get one. If you can't, just get a cheap bowl, you know, the one that you just put on your hot plate on the oven. I've got them ones as well, but this one I like to use. So this is what I use. And now I'm going to turn it right down to barely on, and then put the lid on just to break it down a little bit further. It sort of almost caramelizes with that soy in there. A lot of the onion and stuff starts to sort of meld together. It's really nice. It enhances the flavors. And it gives me now an opportunity to just clean up while I'm waiting for that. So I'm going to do that for about 10 minutes. You probably don't, you could eat that straight away, right now, absolutely. There's no problems with that. But I'm just being fussy. So I'm going to give it 10 minutes. I'm going to do some cleaning up and I'll come back. Okay, well, we're all done. I've cleaned up. Finished the 10 minutes, now it's in the bowl. It's looking very nice, smells fantastic. There's many different ways you could do this. This is just a very simple version. It's just off the top of my head from doing this for a long time. So, the last thing I like to do now is just squeeze some lime in. Okay, just half, I'll save the other half for the rest. Looking at what was left, there was easily enough for a second serving. So I really should start inviting people over, at least one guest, to help me eat all this. Otherwise, it's really good. I store it, I freeze it, and I always have time to eat it later. It lasts a long time. So that's basically it, guys. Our last leftovers of the pork, and this time it's a delicious Thai pork stir fry, I'll call it, because that's sort of what it is. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy this and hopefully you'll do the same. See you later.